Call of Duty Modern Warfare is an FPS set to the present day, inspired by the Syrian civil war. And this one has some controversy like other Call of Duties do, mainly in its absurd depiction of Russian soldiers. One's like this Frankenstein monster where you're playing as a child running away from the Highway of Death is reference, which that had to do with the Americans, the coalition forces during the 91 Gulf War. So take it as seriously as the movie 300 and not a game like This War of Mine or anything. The story jumps around to different locations. You have Alex with the CIA working with the rebels in Urzikstan, Jonathan Price with the SAS in Great Britain, and other locations. They converge, help each other out. The best combat I found to be the close quarters, as Call of Duty with first-person shooter is much more fast and fluid, and there's some good missions with the SWAT and with night vision that affect mechanics. You can't aim down your sights, you only have the laser pointer. Similar to past Call of Duties, though, like you accidentally shoot civilians, you go back to the previous checkpoint, and then as you respawn each time, all the enemies are always in the same location. Then you push the line ahead, and then your troops move with you. Early on, you're going back and forth between Great Britain and the fictional country of Urzikstan. Majority of it takes place, though, in Urzikstan through a bunch of different locations. To help break up the action with the gunplay, you have other things like drone strikes. You see here I have the laser pointer, and a decent variety, kind of like with kill streaks in past Call of Duties. Other things like the cameras, I'm jumping around here, I'm telling her where to go to avoid getting found out by rebels that assault a building later on in the game. There's not too many hiccups. The campaign moves pretty quickly. Then there's like some corny stuff. Here I have a flying RC drone that I'm flying, it's trapped with explosives flying into a helicopter. So a mix of everything. Worst part with the campaign, though, is just repeating the checkpoints over and over. Kind of no matter the difficulty you're playing on, and you know where the enemies are, so that you're going to eventually just kind of go along. You see your quote. So this becomes a slog as you get far into the game, but it's pretty short. So some old, some new-ish this time around with Call of Duty. Like, you still have the modern weapons items, kill streaks, like you have in the past games, but there are some new additions for new players. What they are trying to do, though, is extend the campaign narratively over into competitive and co-op. There's often a cutscene in the beginning when you play a map, and the map is from like the main campaign too. Really, though, the core experience is the same. Like you have the modern weapons. It's still fast and fluid, and you're looking front and back for enemies. The only difference is the aiming down the sights takes a bit longer this time around. One new mode that they're changing as time goes on, right now it's a night vision mode, and with this it affects like the mechanics. I can turn on and off the power, as well as my goggles can go on and off depending on if there's light. But most of it is the same. Like here you're looking at kill confirmed. I remember this way back with Modern Warfare 3. So a lot of these modes have been here for several years, and they're emphasizing close quarters with most of these modes. The one mode they're not, though, is with Ground War. On consoles right now, this is 10 on 10, and this I found to be my favorite. This is the opposite. You have huge maps vertically and horizontally. So the types are, you have free-for-all, that's up to 8 players. You're on your own. Kill confirmed 6 on 6 team. Collect the tags. Gunfight is 2 on 2 in a much smaller map, and then opposite would be Ground War. This is 10 on 10 on consoles and higher on PC. One more thing that makes a return is gunsmithing, that you can customize each gun. There's a list of traits on the bottom, and then as you unlock things through leveling up your character by playing online matches, you can modify it more. But looking at Ground War, you look here, you first have an overmap, and you have to capture each point. You can spawn, and then it zooms you into each location. Vehicles drop at your headquarters, and you can also have kill streaks as well. But when you're going to a capture point, more people there, and then you capture it faster, and then it gets uncaptured if someone has partially captured it and you're at that location. But you can do a lot of jumping around here, and these are just huge maps. You can jump out of a tall building and parachute down. You can spawn to like an armored personnel character. You have infantry vehicles and other modes of transportation. The third part of the game, and the part I found to be the weakest, is the Spec-ops co-op mode. I'm playing this on Xbox One, so there is no survival mode with these, but these are also huge maps, and in the worst way, in my opinion, for Call of Duty. The first is the classic mode. This is a smaller map, but it is just for survival, and didn't really enjoy it. It's not like the Spec-ops I played with Modern Warfare 3 where I get items and then I'm able to use them, and then you're just kind of waiting for those enemies. But the other ones are you find there's 4 types of maps right now, and you're basically going from location to location, and you're like hacking something, picking something up, and that brings you to the next location. Then you're going there, and then enemies are spawning different places as you go along the way. This is 4-player. There are nice little cutscenes for each of these. Kind of like with competitive, though, like I said, they're trying to stretch that campaign over into this, and with this, with the cutscenes, definitely. But most of the time, you're out in the open. You're just going from one location to the next. The AI isn't smart. They make it more bullet spongy as well. So you're dealing with ammo, reloading, constantly reviving teammates. So the least enjoyable of the 3 modes. This one is a rent through Redbox or Gamefly. I don't recommend buying the game unless you're a Call of Duty fan. If you are, this is as good as it is. Like, the sound and everything is good. It's like the best for Modern Warfare, and they'll tweak things over time. The package is those 3 things, though: the campaign, competitive, and co-op. And the good part is campaign, and that's pretty short. Competitive, you have a little bit of fun. The co-op, I found to be pretty lame because of the things that I mentioned. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe if you really liked it, and I'll see you next time.
Cut the wire exactly when I say, not before.
Ready.
Green wire. In 3, 2, 1. Shit.